Good afternoon, everybody. Look at that. The sound works really well in here, amongst everything else. Well, welcome, everyone. I'm Jim Ritchie. I'm the President and CEO of Tridel. I want to welcome you to 1 Bloor West, and certainly located at Toronto's most iconic, at least in my opinion, intersection at Yonge and Bloor. So last summer, we had a little event here, and the Mayor was good enough to attend with us, where we celebrated Canada's first residential super tall building. In other words, a building that exceeds 300 meters in height. So when complete, this building will be home to a new 5-star hotel, luxury retail, and you're standing, some of you sitting, in the primary retail space, and we'll have over 400 new condominium homes. So Tridel has been building homes in Toronto and the GTA for more than 90 years. In fact, our very first home was not far from here in the Bloor and Dufferin area, the single-family house on Lappin Avenue in 1934. So we've clearly seen the housing landscape evolve, but the need for collaboration has never been greater. So today I want to acknowledge the leadership across all 3 levels of government and your commitment of support for the housing industry. We certainly appreciate the shared focus on increasing housing supply, making homes more affordable, supporting jobs in the construction sector, most importantly, and eliminating red tape, making it faster and easier to get projects approved. We've heard that before, so we got all the right people here. That kind of partnership is essential if we're going to deliver more homes of all types at a pace our communities need. So, Premier Ford, delighted to have you here today. Federal Housing Minister Gregor Robertson is right here. From the Ontario government, we also have Minister Solomon. Some of my names have been changed since this morning, but glad to have you here. From the Government of Ontario, of course, Minister Peter Bethlenfalvy, Minister Rob Flack. We have, of course, an entourage from the City of Toronto led by Mayor Olivia Chow. I want to thank you all for being here today and for your continued commitment to tackling the challenges that we have and we face today in housing. Thank you, JBD. So I would also like to do a special shout out to the Honourable Rob Flack. And I do that and his hardworking staff, Robert, Tanner, and Joseph, of course. Lots of good work being accomplished in the last little while in the housing file, so congratulations. Certainly the same thing to say for you, Minister. A lot of things have happened in a very short period of time, all very positive. Of course, Mayor Olivia Chow and your great team here supporting you in the challenges on the housing file. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't point out Jag Sharma, who's around here somewhere. I can't see him. And of course, Jen Chan, always being available to our industry to listen and being accessible. We have some other members of our industry here today, and I'm going to apologize if I missed some of you because the lineup has changed a little bit, but we have some industry titans with us. Alan Menkes from Menkes Developments is here today. Welcome, Alan. Peter Gilgan, of course, everybody knows from Mattamy. Larry and Ken Tannenbaum from Kilmer, thank you for coming today. Harvey Valentine from Castle Point. I'm going to miss a few, I'm sorry for that, but all welcome. So, having said all of that, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to our very first speaker, the City of Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow.
Good afternoon. Premier Ford, Minister Robertson, all the ministers, and all the Member of Parliament, all the home builders. I see Dream and Concord, etc. Yes, of course, Mattamy, Kilmer. Tricon, Castle Point. Okay, I need to stop because I can just keep going. Thank you for being here. The City of Toronto, our city manager, Paul Johnson, our money person, CFO, Steve Conforti here, and all the workers that helped build. Thank you for being here. I see you back there. Yes, I can see. Thank you. I am very pleased and honored to join you all today to announce a new and historical partnership to build tens of thousands of new homes, invest in critical infrastructure in our city, and create thousands of good jobs in the trades and home building. Today's investment comes when the City of Toronto and its people need it most. In uncertain times, when people are worried about what the future might bring, they need to know that their government is on their side, providing stability and strength. We need to build more homes, especially homes that people can afford, build better public transit and roads to keep people moving, build bigger water pipes to serve new neighborhoods. And it's only possible when all three levels of government and the building industry work together. I remember having a meeting, well, actually, it was the building industry, the home builders that said, Mayor, you need to bring the federal and the provincial government together in one room to talk about what we need to do together. And that's exactly what happened. Minister Flack and Minister Robertson, thank you for coming together. And we thought that it's really important for us to invest in the city and lower the cost of building. So I'm very honored both the federal and the provincial government have confidence in Toronto in our ability to lower the cost to build homes and build them faster. And today's announcement, reduce development charges across the board. The bigger the units, the more affordable it is to build. Whether you're building condos, rentals, sixplexes, it'll be faster processes, no delays, no red tape. Together, we are making it much more affordable to build homes. And yes, you don't even need to apply this as of right. The city will add even more incentives on top of today's announcement to get more affordable homes built faster. I am reopening the immensely successful city's purpose-built rental incentive program. Builders who make 1 in 5 units affordable get 100% of their development charges waived. That is up to 10,000 units. Tens of thousands of Torontonians will have new homes built right here in Toronto. They will also get better roads, public transit, and good basic infrastructure. As a municipality, we've been doing our part to lower the cost of building and relentlessly cut red tape. Since 2024, the City of Toronto has cut over $1.2 billion in development charges, taxes, and fees to get thousands more homes built. More affordable units and multiplex are being built as a result. That translates to 7 out of 10 projects being built right now in the city, supported by the city during this housing downturns. We've also transformed how fast we approve housing. For decades, Toronto was slower than almost anywhere else. Now, through our Development Review Division, projects are approved 80% faster, from 3.5 years down to less than 8 months, and we're not done yet. We're going to cut that by 50% sometime in mid-August, saving builders time and money and getting people into affordable homes faster. As housing starts slow in this difficult market, today's provincial and the federal funding will help jumpstart home building across the spectrum. That's exactly what is needed now. I want to thank the provincial and the federal government for their partnership. and for the recognition that municipalities have limited financial means. So whether you're looking for a home or you're a tradesperson worried that jobs are drying up, today's announcement will bring relief. More homes, more jobs. All three levels of government pulling together, building, delivering for people. And that's what this moment calls for. As always, Toronto is ready to build. So let's get building. Thank you so much, and I now will pass it to local MP Danielle Martin.
Merci bien. Bonjour à tous et à toutes et bienvenue au cœur de University Rosedale. Welcome to the heart of University Rosedale. My name is Danielle Martin. I'm your local member of Parliament, and I'm so thrilled to be here today to welcome Mayor Chow, Premier Ford, Minister Robertson, Minister Solomon, my parliamentary colleagues Julie Zurowitz and Maggie Chi, and so many leaders from all levels of government, from industry and among workers to celebrate this important announcement. This is such an important day because we all know that here in Toronto we need more homes and we need them fast, which means that governments at all levels have got an obligation to create the tools and the incentives necessary to make it easier for our partners to put those shovels in the ground. And no level of government and no industry partner can do that alone. It's a job that requires coordination and collaboration across all levels of government. So I know that people in University Rosedale, all across this wonderful city of Toronto and across the country, will welcome today's news and see that we are working together to get things done for people. It's my pleasure now to introduce Minister Gregor Robertson, Canada's Federal Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, to share more about today's announcement and our government's commitment to working across all levels of government towards this shared priority. Thank you. Minister Robertson.
Thank you, Danielle. And just getting my team up here from the federal side of things. Great to be back here in Toronto alongside our newest MP, Danielle Martin, and her riding, of course, Premier Ford, Minister Flack, and Minister Bethlenfalvy, Mayor Chow, and the provincial and city teams. Great to have you here. Also joined by our Parliamentary Secretary for Health, Maggie Chi, and the Chair of our Toronto Caucus, Julie Zurowitz, and Minister Evan Solomon. We are thrilled to be here and to be supporting the home building and infrastructure efforts here going forward, because Canada is in an affordability crunch, and this has been decades in the making. We have our work cut out for us to build more affordable housing, to make sure that home ownership gets back into reach for many more Canadians. We have infrastructure to invest in. It's aging across the country. We've got to pick up the pace on that. Generally speaking, our communities need a lot more support from all levels of government contributing. And this is all part of our big goal to build Canada strong, making sure that the Government of Canada is leading the way with this and forging these incredibly strong partnerships. We're taking major steps on the Canadian front. We've launched Build Canada Homes. It is now officially a Crown corporation as of last Friday. Working with the industry, working with the City of Toronto and many other communities across the country, provinces and territories. We have over 11,000 homes now in the works through Build Canada Homes and thousands more underway. En faisant appel à la main-d'œuvre et des matériaux canadiens, nous construisons davantage de logements abordables, de manière plus intelligente et plus rapide. But we need to bring this approach to everything that we're doing. We need to build more homes in Toronto and across Canada. We also need to be investing in that key infrastructure that enables it. In far too many communities, the existing infrastructure is not cutting it anymore. It can't support building more homes, can't support the families who are trying to build their lives there. So cutting taxes and launching Build Canada Homes were two major pieces of the puzzle. Today, we're talking about next key steps. Cutting development charges to bring down home building costs and investing in infrastructure. That's why we are here today to mark a major milestone in the Canada-Ontario Municipal Development Charge Reduction Program. That's a big acronym if you want to try. partnering with the City of Toronto to support housing-enabling infrastructure projects while reducing the cost of building new homes by approximately $83,000 on average. So that makes a huge difference for people across the city who are looking to unlock construction of more homes while supporting the community infrastructure that our neighborhoods need. And I just want to give a shout out to Jim and the Tridel team for hosting us, and all the builders who are here for your leadership, getting through some tough times. I think we're all having to adjust a lot faster and deeper than we might have expected. These are uncertain times around the world, and that has affected the market. It's affected everything. I would just want to thank the builders, the leaders we have here, the workers for their patience and fortitude as we come through these challenging times, and try and make the best moves that we can possibly make to rebound and get our housing market back on track, and most importantly, get affordability available to all Canadians. Reducing the development charges and the burden to start building new housing is a critical part of that, and making it easier to get shovels in the ground and homes built faster across this city. Thanks to the Mayor and her team for being out in the lead on this, being the first to work this out with the province of Ontario. Thanks to Ontario for being the first province or territory to step up and deliver on this. We've made a couple announcements on this front together, and now we're going to see the results on the ground, which is fantastic. Nos efforts conjoints permettront d'accroître l'offre de logements pour les Canadiens et contribueront à faire baisser les coûts. Back in March, we announced this new partnership between Canada and Ontario to reduce taxes and fees for new homes in Ontario by up to $200,000. A real leadership move by the Premier and his team to bring HST relief across the board. Reducing the development charges is a key piece of that, and the housing supply funding that we're enabling in Ottawa as well. And that combined effort will help boost housing supply for Canadians and help bring down the costs. As I said, it's a great example we want to see the rest of the country step up towards bringing down the costs. So that progress here, removing a full 13% of HST on new homes, up to $1 million in Ontario, saving buyers up to $130 on those taxes. Ce partenariat vise à accélérer la mise en place de logements et d'infrastructures tout en réduisant les coûts et en supprimant les obstacles de la construction. We are proud to take this next step together with Toronto, proud to take the next step with Ontario, and this is a partnership that can make a lasting difference for many, many people here and across Canada. So thanks for your leadership all, and let's get building. Merci.
Bravo.
Well, thank you, Minister Robertson. I just want to acknowledge, Premier, you've got one of the deepest benches I've ever seen in politics, and I'm usually not for being hyperactive about these things, but Minister Flack, Minister McCarthy, Minister Graydon Smith, thank you for being here. I just want to point out Minister Raymond Cho. Thank you for your 35 years of elected office service. Isn't that remarkable? I definitely want to acknowledge Michelle Cooper, Mohad Fidi, Laura Smith, Farron, I should say Laura Smith, and of course the great folks, Mr. Robertson, Mr. Sullivan, Olivia Chow, at Tridel, all you folks who in the private sector are helping getting of all the people of Ontario. So thank you for your support. Premier, you're going to get a lot of introduction in a second, but of course, I just want to say as well, Minister Flack and Mr. Robertson, you worked really well together. More announcement. And then, Premier, without your leadership, working with the Prime Minister, acknowledge the great leadership of Premier Ford and Prime Minister Carney.
Mayor
Chow, of course, you're leading the charge here in Toronto. I want to just say, well, one quick thing, Mayor Chow. You said, look at that, 9 zeros on the check. I had to correct her. There's 11 zeros on the check because I go 2 decimal count the pennies. But we're doing this because we know that people, workers, and families continue to feel the pressure of economic uncertainty and high costs. Today's announcement is an important step forward, and I would like to congratulate Mayor Chow and the City of Toronto for their leadership in taking action to reduce development charges and help get more homes built. We know that housing affordability remains one of the biggest challenges facing Ontario families. For too many, the dream of home ownership feels out of reach. And that's why earlier this month our government worked with the federal government through the Canada-Ontario Partnership and builds on other steps we've taken, including cutting, as was just mentioned, the full 13% on new homes to save buyers up to $130,000. And together, these measures will help unlock housing supply, accelerate construction, and importantly, create good-paying jobs. Lower costs mean more projects move from planning to building. And when more homes get built, communities benefit from stronger local economies and new opportunities for workers and businesses. We have a plan to protect Ontario and build a more competitive, resilient, and self-reliant economy. These times call for that. Nous avons un plan pour protéger l'Ontario et bâtir une économie plus compétitive, résiliente et autosuffisante. One that not only helps us build a stronger Ontario with more homes and better infrastructure, but one that holds greater opportunity for future generations of Ontarians. I'll now pass it over to our fantastic Housing Minister, Mr. Robert Flack. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Peter. And thank you, Peter, and thank you to all my colleagues here today. I won't name everyone again. It's been done a few times, but your support here today, Jim, especially for hosting. It really is great to see such great enthusiasm and support for this announcement today. It is great to be here today for such an exciting announcement alongside federal, provincial, and municipal partners. It really is coming together of all levels of government and support from our local MPPs. Undeniably, as Peter just said, Ontario is in the midst of a serious housing affordability crisis. Home ownership shouldn't be a reality for some and a dream for others. Change is needed, and friends, change has arrived. Over the past year, I've heard loud and clear that it takes too long, Christina, too long, takes too long, and it costs too much to build homes in Ontario. In response, we have passed 3 critical pieces of legislation. As most of you know, most of you are part of the advocacy to get those passed. Together, they work to reduce the regulatory burden and cost of building in Ontario. However, we've recognized that those measures alone were not enough to kickstart this housing economy. That's why we signed, as Minister Robertson just said, the Partnership to Build in March, a partnership that made the HST rebate on new homes possible, along with delivering over $8.8 billion for housing-enabling infrastructure projects. While this development reduction program itself was open for just a very few weeks, we have had tremendous amount of uptake. In fact, more than the $8.8 billion. Minister, I'm not coming back to the table for more. Relax. Well over 100 municipalities have applied for funding for infrastructure that will get homes built. Over 100. The Development Charge Reduction Program, along with the HST rebate, are game changers for the housing sector in Ontario. Together, they will deliver savings of up to $200,000 on new homes in cities like Toronto. So, Mayor, that's called affordability. Now, we know very well why municipalities levy development charges. They've been an important tool used to pay for this critical infrastructure, but they become overly inflated in some municipalities. This funding stream is intended to support participating municipalities through reductions while ensuring that they can complete such needed infrastructure projects, shovel-ready projects, ready to go. The housing sector does not exist in a silo. It has sweeping impacts across our entire economy, and we are keenly aware of how important it is to keep healthy, strong, and within reach for every Ontarian across this province. Housing affordability needs to be on the menu, and it is. For that reason, we will continue working with all government partners and industry stakeholders to create the conditions to drive the housing economy and keep workers on the job. Together, we are building a stronger and more prosperous Ontario. I appreciate everyone's time and attention, and yes, as Peter said, Premier Ford has done a wonderful job, and I think this is a great example of federal-provincial cooperation. And partisanship aside, we got it done for the betterment of Ontarians, the betterment of Canadians. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Premier, Doug Ford.
Well, first of all, hello everyone, and thank you, Minister Flack, for that introduction. It's great to be here today. I guess I'm just going to rename everyone that you just renamed again, so let's go. Ministers Bethlenfalvy takes care of all the finances. The guy's tightest skin on a grape, and that's a good thing when it comes to spending taxpayers' money. Ministers McCarthy and Chow, Associate Minister Smith, PAs Friend, Cooper, Babikian, David Smith, Laura Smith, Federal Ministers Robertson, Solomon, MPs Martin, DeRuse. I apologize. Sarah DeRuse, okay. I owe you lunch for that one. Mayor Chow, Jim Ritchie, CEO of Tridel, and all the other elected officials, along with many of the industry leaders who are building Ontario. It's also great to see all the members from LiUNA, Local 183. You guys are absolute champs. You know I love you. You're the best. Oh, boy. I love these guys and gals. Our government was elected with a mandate to protect Ontario, and we're delivering on that mandate. While we may not be able to control President Trump, we're controlling the decisions we make here in Ontario by building the most competitive, resilient, and self-reliant economy in the G7. We're cutting red tape to a tune of $1.3 billion, keeping taxes and fees low, saving businesses and families $12 billion every single year. And I can tell you, I've said it over and over again, we have never raised a tax. I will never raise a tax. And we're investing in our workers through our $236 billion plan to build, which is the largest infrastructure plan in Canadian history and one of the largest in North America. We're building hospitals, schools, highways, and transit to connect communities, create jobs, and grow our economy. Here in Toronto, as part of our government's historic New Deal with the city, we just announced that the province will be taking over ownership and maintenance of the Gardiner Expressway and Don Valley Parkway in the fall of 2027 to keep people and goods moving across the GTA. Mayor, you're welcome. I used to tell Rob we got to get rid of that Gardiner and DVP. It's a real burden on the city. This transfer will free up billions of dollars that the city can invest in other vital services like housing, transit, police, and local roads. With these critical highways under provincial ownership, our government can guarantee that we will never toll them and we will never ever tear them down. Our government is also investing in the largest expansion of public transit in North America. People are already riding the Finch West LRT and the Eglinton Crosstown, and now we're building, this always amazes me when we rattle these numbers off, and again, I want to thank the city and the federal government because they're involved in a lot of this. We're building the Eglinton Crosstown West Extension, the Scarborough Subway Extension, the Yonge North Subway Extension, the new Waterfront East Transit Line, the Hazel-McCallion Line in Peel, the Hamilton LRT, and the 15.6-kilometre Ontario Line Subway, with the first new subway tunnels in more than 60 years being dug under downtown Toronto. And you know who started... You know, to my great LiUNA brothers and sisters there, Joe Mancinelli, which is an absolute champion. You know, he told me the stories when they first started building subways. Guess who was building them? LIUNA members. So that's a matter of fact. I think Joe's father was one of them. And as we build, we're using Ontario steel, lumber, and any other Ontario products we can so that Ontario tax dollars support Ontario workers. As part of our plan to make life more affordable, we're working with all levels of government to keep the dream of home ownership within reach for hard-working families across Ontario. That's why we cut the full HST on all new homes, providing $2.2 billion in tax relief over the next year and saving home buyers up to $130,000. We're already seeing the impact of this tax cut with home sales in the Greater Toronto Area up more than 300% when compared to last year, which is helping thousands of workers in the construction sector get and stay on the job. We're doubling down. A few short weeks ago, I joined Prime Minister Carney and Mayor Chow to announce that Ontario and Canada had signed a historic agreement that's making $8.8 billion available to municipalities to lower development charges by 50% or more. Today, we're putting that plan into action. We're wasting no time getting shovels in the ground. Alongside the federal government, we're awarding the City of Toronto with $1.5 billion to cut development charges by 40 to 60% on new homes. That's great. So doing so will support the construction of 44,000 new homes and lower costs by $83,000. When combined with eliminating the HST on all new homes, these moves will save home buyers $200,000 off the cost of a new home. The funding we're providing Toronto will go towards new projects across the city that will expand road and transportation networks, improve water and wastewater infrastructure, and pay for new transit vehicles, supporting transit users here in Toronto and workers across Ontario. This kind of ambition and action, it takes partnership. It takes collaboration, it takes cooperation, it takes communication, partnership with the federal government, partnership with municipalities, partnership with workers, and partnership with home builders. I want to thank Minister Robertson and Minister Sullivan and the whole team from the federal government, all federal partners, for coming together and working with us to deliver for the City of Toronto. And I also want to give a big special shout out to Mayor Chow, who is setting an example today, going above and beyond what is required, that I encourage municipal leaders across Ontario to follow. In the coming weeks and months, thank you for blazing that trail, Mayor. You're doing great. Our government will continue working with municipal partners to unveil more agreements, to cut taxes and fees on more homes, to keep the dream of home ownership within reach for hardworking families in every corner of our province. Thank you, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you so much.
We will now take questions from the media. Media can come to the microphone and state their name and outlet. Just a reminder, the format is one question and one follow-up. First question.
Hi, Premier. Tina Yazdani with the Trillium. Premier, Angus Reid Institute recently released a poll ranking you Canada's least popular premier. You called the poll fake. The firm has now apparently sent you a letter demanding that you correct the public record. Are you going to correct it, or do you stand by what you said?
Well, let me tell you about polls, and I'm sure you're going to get other polls that show different. I saw different polls, but I'll tell you one thing. If the election was held today, we wouldn't just form a majority, we would form another massive majority, a supermajority as we call it, that no one's ever done in the history of Ontario. Matter of fact, no one's ever done it 3 times and popular vote goes up. That's what we're focused on. I'm going to tell you the reason why we're going to get re-elected, and polls only count on election day. We're the only government that has never raised taxes. We're the only government that's cut taxes by $12 billion. We've eliminated the sticker on the back of the vehicles, saving people a couple $100. We eliminated the tolls on the 412, 418, and part of the 407, saving people $7,500. We put together a plan that's called One Fare, so you can hop on the GO train in Barrie and come down, hop on the TTC on one fare, saving people and transit riders over $1,700. We announced the HST with great partners from the City of Toronto and all municipalities, along with our great partnership with the federal government. We're tough on crime. We're leading the country when it comes on being tough on crime, hiring tough on crime judges, hiring more prosecutors, working with the federal government. I want to thank the federal government for bail reform. Thank you for getting that done as well. We've created more jobs in the last 2 months than any other jurisdiction in North America. I should repeat, not we didn't create it, we created the climate and the conditions for 84,000 jobs in 2 months. When I told my counterparts in the U.S., they could not believe the numbers. And I couldn't help myself but tell them per capita, we created 681% more jobs than 350 million people in the U.S. We have 16.3 million. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep, and I could go on for another hour if you want, but I know you have a lineup of other tough questions about polls. But you know what I'm happy about today? I'm happy that people are going to now be able to afford a home, not just here in Toronto, but across the province, and that's the reason. And do you want me to give you the numbers? You watch the numbers. Come on. Okay, 41% PC, 27% provincial Liberals, exclude the federal, they're doing well. Provincial Liberals and NDP is 21, and the Greens are 7. So anyways, I don't care about polls. The poll that counts is on Election Day, and that's going to be a few years down the road. But thank you for that very good question.
I also wanted to ask you about Protect Ontario ads. We just got back some FOI records showing that just one ministry spent $10 million on these ads. We're still waiting for records from other ministries.
Yeah.
A lot of critics say that these are just to boost your own image and the government's image. How can you justify spending taxpayer dollars on these ads?
Well, I think it's great that we're informing people. And do you know what I love? I love the federal ads too, because what we're doing, their job and our job, is to inform the people what our governments are doing. Inform the people how we're collaborating together to make life easier and more affordable by cutting taxes, as the federal government and the provincial government and municipalities are doing. So if we don't inform people, the only choice they have is to listen to the media, and I'll hold my comments on that.
Premier Ford, Mark McAllister from City News. Let's talk about polls some more, shall we? A few months ago, you had mentioned an internal government poll showing 70% in favor of expanding Billy Bishop Airport. Those numbers, however, were actually gathered at the end of November last year. Since then, in April, there's been another poll from Liaison saying 49% are opposed to the work. Another one today from Main Street saying 54% are opposed to this being done. Have you done any surveys since taking over the operation or moving in on it and making all the claims about expanding yourself?
Well, again, you could talk about polls and who's doing them, who's right, who's wrong. We know it's very popular because there's going to be thousands and thousands of jobs doing this. It's going to create convenience and opportunity for people to land here at beautiful Billy Bishop and go down to the largest city in the country, one of the largest cities in North America. It's going to boom the economy. It's going to drive up the economy. But do you know what it's also going to do? It's going to allow convenience, and it's going to allow competition for lower fees. Rather than go up to Pearson Airport and stand in line 3 hours before the flight and it costs a lot more, they're going to be competitive fees. Just watch how popular it's going to be. And all we're doing is moving it over 100 yards, expanding the runway for safety as well. So it's absolutely critical we get this done. We're the only large city that doesn't have 2 airports, but we'll have 2 airports that will allow more people to come and visit us and spend their tourist dollars and business dollars right here in Toronto.
You stand by the notion that the public is supporting this, though? Like you had
Again,
said before?
I stand by it because we've been out there, we've been talking to people. Again, you know, you can go out and talk to any pollster you want. I know the real numbers, and the real numbers are, let's start moving on this, and we'll go from there. But thank you. And it's going to allow the Portlands to develop. There was a guy back in 2011 said we should build up the Portlands. Now, since we're moving the runway over a little bit, now they're going to be able to have higher density, create more housing in the Portlands.
Hi, Premier. Laura Stone, Globe and Mail. Can you address what happened at Ford Fest last week? You were booed off the stage. You couldn't really spend any time there. And then a couple of your members, one of whom is here, posted a photo. Didn't show any of the protesters. It showed them all in blue shirts, and you called it a success. So, I mean, can you address the allegation that you're trying to rewrite history here?
No. So, first of all, folks, Ford Fest has been around for 31 years. And there's no elected official that can gather thousands, and in the entire country, by the way, thousands and thousands of people to come here. Am I disappointed that they dropped off 4 busloads of protesters and were very vulgar language, using the F word every 10 seconds in front of little kids and family, intimidate thousands of our supporters, and then the best of all, they ate the hamburgers and ate the ice cream while they were protesting. So, something, Ford Fest was created to come and have a family barbecue that's carried on for 31 years. Am I disappointed? Yeah, I'm disappointed that they came in and used vulgar language and tried to disrupt it. But they were there for about an hour, and then they left, and everyone had a great time. And it's just disappointing they'd use those tactics in front of young little kids and family that were just, and then intimidating them too. But I've always said, everyone's welcome at Ford Fest. It's the largest family barbecue in the entire country. Always will be. We're going to continue doing it next year. And I apologize for the families that were sworn at, intimidated, and insulted.
Do you view the reaction to you as representative of how the public is starting to feel about you? We've heard about the polls. I know you dispute
love this,
that, but I mean,
folks, let me cut to the chase here. All you've done is attack me since I've been up here. We announced $1.5 billion. I ask you one thing. We know the numbers. I've told you the numbers. I've actually sent you numbers to take a look at. So let's go from there. And I don't call when you load 4 busloads of those folks out there shouting and screaming, moving forward. And the ironic thing is, I don't even negotiate it. We upped $400 million for services that we send to service providers, and guess what? They negotiate. I don't negotiate. But the good news is they told me they signed deals with 10 other locals, which is good, and we'll sign the rest. But I don't get involved in that. But thank you for that question on the building homes.
It's not an attack to ask you about a public event that happened and to question you about that. It's not.
Yeah, but I just want to tell you, the buses were dropped off. You saw the buses on purpose. First time in 31 years to disrupt a family barbecue that's grown into thousands. The lovers outnumbered the 4 busloads 10-1, easy. And when I got calls after telling me all the stories, how they were sworn at in front of their kids, insulted, and it's really sad. But they made sure that they ate those burgers and drank their drinks and had their ice cream. I'm glad they enjoyed themselves as well.
Hi, Premier. Siobhan Morris from CTV News. I did want to ask you, this was intended for your Minister of Finance, but if you want to take it, by all means. OPSEU has been raising a lot of concerns about the amount of money going to private administrators of public services going past $1 billion a year. What's the reason for this increase, and how do you justify that, since that was private or publicly being delivered before?
Well, we've increased spending, and you can jump in here, Peter, if you want. We've increased spending in developmental services by $400 million. We have put more money, not a little bit, way more money than any government in the history of this province. We're going to continue supporting that sector, and we've already signed, I think it's close to 10 locals. So the other locals, they can do cartwheels, they can jump up and down, they can come to Queen's Park and do whatever they want. But what they shouldn't be doing is protesting outside of our ministers' homes. Who does that? Who stands in front of ministers' homes and harasses them and their neighbors and their communities? I don't know of anyone who does that, but I'll hand it over to you, Peter.
Yeah. Thank you, Premier. You're absolutely right. We've been increasing the social services budget since we took office in 2018. It's now $22 billion. Premier, 100% right. We did a 3% increase for developmental wages that is about little over $400 million over 3 years. So we're going to continue to be there. I would also say, remember that when we took office, our population was about 14 million. It's now 16.2 million. So we're taking care of more people, the most vulnerable. And you're absolutely right. We are, I'm also the interim president of the Treasury Board right now, and watching every penny is part of that mandate. And we want to make sure, and we've got a program, and I mentioned this in the budget in 2026 in March, that we are going to look at all the system and the people that deliver the money to the frontline workers, so the social workers, the healthcare workers, the educators, to make sure that every single penny, as much as possible, can go to the benefit of the most vulnerable, to our patients, to our students. So we are going to continue to watch the pennies very carefully to make sure that the dear taxpayer dollars, which we value very much, gets to the frontline workers, gets to the benefit of those people who need it most.
I have a question for Minister Robertson, actually.
Oh, you lucky, buddy. You got one. I thought you had it covered. Yeah, I thought I did too.
I'll give the Premier a break. I wanted to ask you about the plan to buy up vacant condos in Vancouver. Is that something you're looking at doing in Toronto, and how do you justify using taxpayer money to bail out, as some people are describing, developers?
Well, let me start with the broader toolkit here, because that's one tool that we can use to get more affordable housing available. But Build Canada Homes, as I mentioned, is our main approach with getting affordable housing built. We've got $13 billion invested there, including some in a rental protection fund that will be buying back apartments to protect that long-term affordable rental housing. We've also got the Build Community Strong Fund, which is investing in infrastructure to enable more housing and affordable housing to be built. A number of different tools through the National Housing Strategy, from Reaching Home for homelessness to significant programs like the Housing Accelerator Fund that 241 cities across the country are accessing to get more affordable housing built. So we have this large toolbox. Just to be clear, there was some confusion around the numbers. $3.2 billion was mentioned. That is the combined investment in infrastructure of Canada and BC that we announced. And this investment in vacant homes, effectively, that we are pursuing with BC is another tool that we're looking at. There'll be more details to come, but in a time like this where we have record levels of homelessness, we have people that can't access affordable rental apartments, and we have empty homes in Vancouver, in Toronto. We need to take action on this and make the most responsible decisions with it. There'll be more details on what that program is in the near term. Okay. Thank you.
Actually, Mr. Robertson, if I can get you one more question here. In terms of development charges, most provinces don't rely on development charges nearly as much as Ontario and BC do. Why is it appropriate to spend federal money collected from all provinces to solve a problem that is basically just Ontario and BC allowing some municipalities to be bad actors, for lack of a better word?
Well, the funding that is going to reduce development charges across the country is available to all provinces and territories. The formula is different for different provinces. Obviously, population factors largely in it, but also the condition of the housing market is an important piece of this puzzle. So obviously in Ontario's case and BC's, there are very high development charges. compared to the price of housing. As you mentioned, many other provinces and territories do not have development charges. So the proportions are different across the different provinces and territories, and we're really focusing this investment in Ontario and BC, where the challenge is enormous with housing market, and ensuring that we get that market going again is good for all of Canada. Right now, it's impacting our economy. It's keeping people out of work. We got to get people back to work building. And at the same time, we need to be investing in infrastructure. All of this funding is going to infrastructure investments, building more infrastructure that helps us get more housing built. So we're tying these things together, and we're focusing on where the problem is the biggest here in the GTA and in Metro Vancouver.
And Premier Ford, multiple other municipalities have in fact cut development charges before this program was announced. I'm thinking of Vaughan, Burlington, I think even Hamilton. Now Toronto is joining the ranks of cities that have cut development charges, but only after getting $1.5 billion. Are you worried that the lesson for other cities to draw here is that they should keep their development charges high until you come to the door with a big bag of money?
Not at all. They're going to be supported. Vaughan's going to be supported, and anyone else that cut development charges. So we're going to take care of Mayor Del Duca and anyone else that has cut them earlier that led the way.
Premier Ford, Sean Jefford, CBC News. I want to also ask you about the program here today. You made an appeal during this press conference to all municipalities to step up and apply. There are some smaller municipalities in Ontario who have looked at this and said it's not worth the risk. And I wonder, they just can't afford to take the chance that they'll lose out on the development charges. They need that money. If they don't buy in, if the Stratfords, if the Amherstburgs don't buy in, frankly, is it just enough to get Toronto involved, or will we have pockets of the province that don't have housing as a result, or more housing?
With housing, they need infrastructure, right? If they don't want to jump on board and take the money, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for people to move into their community, and once they build a home, they'll have new revenues come up. Isn't it amazing, folks, that the province has never, ever raised a tax? We've cut them by $12 billion, and guess what happened? We've seen $71 billion more up to the Queen's Park coffers. So you don't have to tax to get more revenues. You have to create the environment, which we have. We've seen over $222 billion of investment in our province. As the previous government chased 300,000 jobs out of our province, there's over 1 million more people working today that are paying taxes. This is economics 101. And I'm shocked that some governments, not all, but some governments, just don't believe in lowering taxes. I believe in putting money back into people's pockets. They're going to go out and do things they might otherwise not be able to do. Maybe put an addition on their home. Maybe save for down payment to buy a new home. Or as simple as going out for dinner. And you put money into businesses' pockets, guess what happens, folks? They invest it into their people, into technology, into infrastructure, into buying new equipment, and then they hire more people. Again, economics 101, and that's what we believe in.
Premier, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario recently wrote your government, and they're objecting to your push to appoint regional chairs. They're calling it undemocratic. This is a group that pretty rarely speaks out publicly and criticizes your government. I'm wondering what you think about this and if you're considering reversing course on this policy.
Well, we've done it already. The previous government has done it, so I'm not too sure what they're talking about. When I came to office, there was an appointment in Peel. There was an appointment in York Region. There was an appointment in Niagara and a few others. But you know what's funny? I didn't really change the appointments. I didn't care if they were liberal, because I know our good chair, and unfortunately he passed away, but he was a liberal. Folks, I don't care about political stripes. I care about one thing: supporting the people, putting money back in their pockets, and making life easier in Ontario, creating more jobs, creating safe communities. That's what I focus on.
Good afternoon, Premier. Colin DeMello from Global News. So there seems to be a lot of positive reaction from the building industry related to the measures that you and the federal government have announced. I'm wondering, with all of this, the $200,000 in total discounts, will these measures get you to 1.5 million homes by 2031, or is that target no longer achievable?
Well, thanks for that, Colin. Let's see how we go, because already in 1 year it's increased over 300%. Yes, we've seen some uncertain times with President Trump's tariffs, but I feel when I was down in South Carolina and over in Washington, heading over to Utah, the ground is shifting right now down there. And if I didn't know there were Republicans and Democrats, they're singing off the same song sheet. People, folks, they want certainty. They want stability. And when you get certainty and stability, what happens? You get investment, you get production, you get jobs, you get lower cost of goods. And I have confidence that the Prime Minister and President Trump are going to work out a deal, because it's beneficial to both countries. So in uncertain times, yeah, it was tough last year. It's still tough out there. But in saying that, I think we'll increase the numbers. All I say is the builders build, and folks that were questioning if they were going to buy a home, if there was ever a time to buy a home, it's now. And so that's what I encourage everyone to do, is go out there and get financing and buy a home.
Okay, thank you. And on the other topic, I'm not going to argue with you about polling, but it seems like politicians in this country have a shelf life, and it seems to be about 8 or 9 years. From Stephen Harper to Justin Trudeau to Dalton McGuinty, all of them, roughly at the 8-year mark, they started hitting the numbers that you're hitting now. Do you feel like Ontarians are turning the page on you, Premier?
Wow, that's a good one, Colin. I love that. Was smooth. What my prediction is, you're going to join the provincial Liberal Party, you're going to work with them, and you're going to run. That's my opinion. But, no. Okay, let's just see. But anyways, that's my personal opinion. I'm going on record. But anyways, in saying that, I'm sorry, in 8 years, Justin Trudeau wasn't sitting at 41%. And hopefully when a poll, because you're obsessed with these polls, when Abacus, a very reputable firm, comes out and says what I just said, and our polling company, unfortunately, last time they came out with positive numbers, you refused to post them. Absolutely refused to. So we'll see if these numbers will carry on for 3 weeks. And, with all due respect to the other premiers, I'm Doug Ford. I'm not Dalton McGuinty. God bless Dalton McGuinty. I'm not Kathleen Wynne. And I'm sure the heck not Justin Trudeau. So I apologize, guys, but I'm no Justin Trudeau, okay?
This will be the last reporter.
Hi, Premier. Liam Casey with the Canadian Press. I believe you'll be in attendance tomorrow to help Lake Constable Pinizzotto to rest tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
Wondering how you're feeling against the recent spate of violence against police officers.
Well, first of all, my condolences go out to the families. My condolences go out to, the people that are in critical condition, the police officers. I've put a letter to Premier Lance, as the chair of COF, for going out there, that we need an emergency meeting just on how we're going to protect our police officers. That hits home close to me. I have 3 son-in-laws that are police officers, but it also hits home to every single police service from coast to coast to coast. And we need to catch these criminals. We need to throw them in jail for life. And that's what we need to do, because this is devastating. If I'm not mistaken, there's 6 officers that have been critically hurt in ICU, and others have been absolute murdered, cold-blooded murder. So it's about time that we do everything in our power, all levels of government, to protect our police, and I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we protect our police officers, because I absolutely love them. They put their lives on the line every single day, and I'll always have their backs, and I will never, ever waver.
The police have warned of copycats of the Montreal shooting in wake of the discovery of this manifesto. I'm wondering if you're worried about that, and what you as a premier can do to prevent against attacks against police.
Well, first of all, these criminals that are going on these social media sites that we can't access, we need access, no matter what it takes, from these big tech companies. And they're saying, oh, privacy my butt. These are police officers that get killed. We need access, and you'll talk to every single police service in this country, from the RCMP, from the OPP, from every police service, that they need access from these tech companies to get these encrypted messages that they're offering $2,000 or $5,000 to go shoot up a synagogue or shoot up another place. Unacceptable. They're a bunch of little cowardly punks. And when we catch them, they need to go to jail for life. And the people that are paying the money, they need to go to jail for life. And these little punks that are having home invasions and affecting people's lives, we can't have these weak-kneed, bleeding heart judges letting them out on bail 4 or 5 times. And now with the bail reform, that, by the way, all 13 premiers agreed unanimously that we toughen it up. And again, I want to thank the federal government for passing that. That's just one step of many that we can make our streets safer, because what's happening is unprecedented, not just here, right across North America. When I'm down there, I ask the police officers how many home invasions they get. Nothing compared to us. How many car thefts? Nothing compared to us. Do you know why? Because before this bail reform came in, they were getting let out constantly, 4, 5, 6 times, and they're just going and repeating these crimes. And a lot of these punks are 17 years old, getting paid a few $1,000s. We need to change that too, because I know when I was 17, 18, I knew not to break in a house with a gun and shoot up the house and terrorize the neighbors and everyone else. So that's because people, I can tell you, people are so fed up, because I talk to them, they take the law into their own hands. They want to protect their family. And I know every single man in this room and woman that if someone was attacking your little child or your kids, you would sacrifice your life to take the guy out. And I say a guy because they're all guys.
This concludes today's press conference.
Okay, that's it. Okay, guys, thanks so much.